Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight. Here's our host, Hunter Muller.
Welcome to HMG Strategy's Actionable Research Insights, our Genius Expert Model. I'm here with Kevin Powers, the founder and director of the Graduate Cybersecurity Program at Boston College. Kevin, great to have you here today.
Hey, thanks, Hunter, for having me.
When you think about the cyber world, things dramatically changed 30 months ago when we all went to a work from home, work from anywhere environment. The threat landscape dramatically changed overnight. What are the trends that you're tracking right now that our global audience, our world-class audience should be dialed into?
It's no longer the idea of that a company should follow best practices. It's now all about you shall do these best practices. Specifically, what I'm seeing out there is a real codification where the regulators are taking the cybersecurity NIST framework and putting that into a regulation and requiring companies to build out a program based on NIST, but then also putting to the senior management and the board of directors now them on the hook, kind of like what they did with Sarbanes-Oxley, where you now need to sign off and certify each year that your cybersecurity program is aligned to this specific regulation, which is then aligned to the NIST framework.
So you've been on this journey for quite some time and built out an amazing graduate program, but a program for executives to get ready, to be boardroom ready as it relates to cyber, right?
You know, out of our graduates, we have probably 50% of them now are chief information security officers, chief information officers, some serve on boards. They're out there, and that's what we're doing. So with our program, we work with CISOs. Our whole faculty is adjunct based, so that the practitioners out there, they're living it every day, and they're bringing to the classroom practical experiences, which builds out that cyber workforce, which we know needs to be built out because it's not there and there's a huge gap.
So Kevin, what are the top three trends that you're tracking right now that are really relevant to CISOs and boards?
All right, the top three trends are the regulatory environment, the requirements for boards of directors, senior management, more to work with CISOs, and then three, building out a cyber culture across an enterprise. They're all tied together, but they're all separate issues. So first off, I'm looking for boards of directors and senior management to focus on the new regulatory environment. You have the proposed SEC rules coming forth. We have the new FTC safeguard regulations that came forth. And then we have New York's Department of Financial Services, which really set the path forward several years ago in 2018 with Part 500, which really codified the NIST framework. Before, and mostly with most regulators too, they just tell you to be reasonable. There's not much guidance. And what they say is, build out your program. It's based on your unique risk. What New York did when they came out with their new rules in 2018, they said that build out your program based on your unique risks, what type of industry you're in, but also we want you to build out a program that identifies, detects, protects, responds, recovers, which is actually the core functions of the NIST framework. So what they did is they codified the NIST framework. What you're seeing now with the SEC, they're coming forth and they're telling companies really, and this is disclosure, they can't tell you what to do, but they're really doing it through a back door, requiring organizations, public organizations, and also wealth managers to build a program based on NIST, but then they're going up to the board level and to the senior management and telling them, we want to know what your expertise is, what your role is building out these programs, and we want you to certify each year that you're actually building a program the way we want it, aligned with NIST, and you certify it. If it's not there, then there's going to be trouble for the board, the senior management, and the companies overall.
Kevin, we've been working with CIOs for over 30 years, CISOs for 10, and we see now what happened early on with CIOs. They really need to be more business-oriented, more executive ready, more boardroom ready, better storytellers, better strategic connectors in the boardroom and the C-suite and the line of business. Are you seeing that same trend, the need for CISOs to up-level their game?
Absolutely, and I think the CISOs have upped their game. And now what they're getting is the audience to go play on that platform with the board of directors, because over the years, there's been a lot of talk. If you hear from the different surveys, whether they're coming from Deloitte, PwC, or E&Y, they talk about hey, boards of directors, they look at cybersecurity risk. 80% look at that as one of the top two risks. But then the next question is, how often do you talk about cybersecurity at the board level? And it's like, well, not often, maybe once or twice a year. I think what you're going to see now is the CISOs having the ability, they'll be talking at every quarterly meeting. I think you'll see more and more of cybersecurity or emerging technology boards coming, not boards, committees. Right now it's all under the audit committee for the most part. When you see cybersecurity, you're going to see separate committees forming. In fact, Gartner talked right now, I think it's 10% of companies have a cybersecurity committee. They're putting forth by 2025, 40% of public organizations will have a cybersecurity committee. So I think this is the opportunity for the CISOs to show their stuff. They've been asking to get there, so I don't want to say be careful for what you ask for, but you're going to have the floor and you're going to be able to perform.
We just came back from an amazing conference in Detroit. A woman went from CIO to CDO to really the P&L on a software platform within the auto industry of one of the top automakers in the world. And she's a great leader, a great businesswoman, but she says, number one, be a disruptor. If you're not a disruptor, you're not making an impact. Now, why, if I were a CISO, why wouldn't I be going to the CEO and board and saying, if Gartner has this at 10%, and by 40% by 2025, I want 100%. We need our own cyber risk committee at a board level, right under the board. Why wouldn't I do that?
What you'll find, based with all the regulatory requirements coming down the pike, you'll see the boards and senior management saying, yeah, great, let's get this set up. And let's work together and really focus on this as a key function for the business, because they have to, because the regulatory environment is making it so.
So could we, Kevin, could we do a white paper and saying Kevin and Hunter believes, number one, that every board, every company needs a cyber risk committee?
It's always up to the organization based on their unique circumstances, how their board works, how they function, and they work together, because different companies set up different programs. So you might have you might address cybersecurity under the audit committee, and you might have an ad hoc committee or a task force focusing on that, and it's working fine. Anytime there's a checkbox set up, I'm not for that. I think you need to leave the business leaders to set up their business appropriately to address things, but the regulators are being more prescriptive here, saying you shall do these 10 things, but then you still build out your program as you want to build it out.
So in your opinion, then, this new SEC 4-point plan that's going under a 90-day review, are there any major gotchas or holes or opportunities?
For the security professionals, I think there's a lot of great opportunities because it's putting forth to the board of directors, to the senior management, everything you've been saying for the past 10 years. This is how we have to build our cybersecurity program. It has to be enterprise-wide, has to be based on risk. We have to have the business unit bought in. We have to have a cyber culture. We have to invest more in building out these programs. This is what we're all about. And that's what the SEC rules are doing right now, the proposed rules, I should say.
Kevin, great to see you. Looking forward to seeing you at an upcoming summit, an upcoming digital asset that we'll produce together, and or an upcoming actionable HMG Global Actionable Insights Genius Expert Consult. Great to see you.
Awesome. Thanks, Hunter, and have a great day. Nice seeing you.
For more information, please visit hmgstrategy.com and keep up to date by following us on our social media platforms. Thank you.